Guys, today I'm going to be doing another video telling you how you don't need to spend a lot of money to get great sound. Yes, obviously, as you spend more money, generally speaking, you're going to get better sound. But there are places and times where you don't need to, and you can actually get better performance. Stay tuned and I'll tell you what I mean. Guys, welcome to another episode of The Greek Audio Geek. I am Michael, I'm Greek. Clearly, I am an audio geek with all of this gear here. So today we're going to talk about how you can get better sound without needing to spend crazy amounts of money. Obviously, having a great platform for your gear that can hold the gear that's really heavy is important. I've got this Timber Nation rack. I've had it for several years. I love it. In fact, my only complaint about it is that I've outgrown it and I wish it were longer. But that's not a fault of the Timber Nation. I have looked into other racks, and typically when you start getting into audio specific racks, you're talking $12,000, $15,000, $20,000 or more. I mean, there's some out there that are $100,000 and they're beautiful and they're vibration control. But I've got a couple of, I don't want to say issues, but there's a couple of things about it that I'm not crazy about. A, that is a lot of money. I can't afford that kind of money. B, each one has its own unique sound. And it's not something that you can bring into your house like a pair of speakers and try for yourself and see if it works for you. C, vibration control I have found is very floor dependent and very gear dependent and is affected by also the type of shelves. What's the shelves made out of? So I have taken a counter turn in my search for HiFi racks. I started with the Timber Nation, which is great, and I focused on getting a rack that was strong. This is about 100 pounds here. This is, I think we're close to 85 pounds here. The bat is another 60 pounds. Each one of these can hold a significant amount of weight. This Aries Surratt, if I were able to lift it, is about 167 pounds. It would fit, that rack could hold it. So I approach this now where I say, find yourself a piece of furniture that you like, if it needs to be in a wife-approved room. Get yourself something like a Timber Nation rack that they can build for you at a reasonable price point. Or there's plenty of other racks and brands out there. It doesn't have to be a Timber Nation. You could build it yourself, but make sure it's strong enough to actually be able to hold the weight of the gear. I would also say over-engineer it, because you'd be surprised how many times, certainly I'm surprised, how many times you end up kind of moving the rack in, moving the rack out, trying to get behind it for wires or moving it over in the room. So you want something that's extra durable, extra tough, and doesn't sag when you put the gear on it. So whatever you choose, find yourself what I call a starting point for a rack or piece of furniture, a bureau, a console. Guys, the stuff from IKEA is not going to cut it. You read the specs on that stuff, and oftentimes, even their stereo consoles can hold no more than 50 pounds. I mean, my Antipodes audio streamer and server weigh more than 50 pounds. So I don't do that. From there, now comes to the point where you can improve it and make it just as good or better than these $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 racks. And we're talking vibration control. And there's a variety of ways you can do that. You can do the isoacoustics. They're very, very popular. They're not really that expensive. I think it's like a couple $100 for a set. You could do the stack audio. I've had really good luck with the stack audio. They have them for different weights, same with the isoacoustics. You got to make sure you get the one that's designed for the weight range of the gear you're putting it on. This is actually one of their speaker footers, so you can put it under the speakers, and they make bigger ones for the more heavy gear that we'll be getting in. You could use stack audio. I've had good luck with the Sound Chaos. These Sound Chaos are basically miniature versions of what you see over my shoulder here, the Well Floats. The Well Float makes really nice stuff as well. And they are all different price points. The Stack Audio comes with an in-home trial, so you can try it and make sure you like it. I don't know if the isoacoustic does or doesn't, but I think if they don't, certainly the retailers, your local retailer will probably support you on something like that. And guys, these are These are different technologies. They're made of different materials. They're all going to sound and do things differently. There is no easy answer as to one is the best. I have found that on wood shelves, I typically prefer the Stack Audio Sound or the Sound Chaos or Well Floats more. I found when we start getting into things like tile and granite and things like that, the isoacoustics really step their game up, and it's going to be a better sound for something like that. This has got more rubber in it than something like a Stack Audio does. So you got to try it. You got to see what works. You will also find that different units may perform differently under different components. So while, and I'm making this up, but my experience has found this out, that maybe the isoacoustic sounds better under your DAC and the Stack Audio sounds better under your streamer or your preamp or your CD player, whatever it is. Here's the great thing about it, guys. You can get into a real rack or console that works for you. You can spend a little bit of money on fine-tuning the vibration control that works for you. And guys, there is almost no limit to where you can put vibration control. I kind of went crazy. I was shocked the first time I stuck it under my switch for my HiFi. It was a pretty big difference. I've got it, my optical bridge. I've got it virtually under everything. And it makes a noticeable difference. So get yourself a good rack. Try your different components that you like, your vibration control. Then if you want, you can really step up the game. I've got here, I don't know if you can see in the video, I've got a graphite audio amp platform, which is designed to really support the amps, be down low. And I mean, it's a whole nother level of performance than when we're getting into more individual components and things like that, but it's also a magnitude in price. So there is an in-between where you don't need to spend crazy amounts of money on these racks that are $4,000 for an amp stand or $5,000 for just an amp stand. You can get something like a graphite audio. You can get their footers. You can get other footers. Heck, you could get a big piece of butcher block and put your amp on it and put the vibration control of your choice under it, and you're going to get a lot of the benefit for a fraction of the price. So don't be intimidated by the price of the racks. You don't need to spend that kind of money. I am taking an educated guess based off of my experience, and I would argue that you probably stand a better chance of getting a sound you are more pleased with at a lower price point, a significantly lower price point, if you get a solid rack to start with, and then you can fine-tune your vibration control devices, versus if you just went and spent $30,000 or $40,000 or $50,000 on a rack that is not tunable, that may or may not work well with your gear. That's just an educated guess, but I feel really comfortable in saying that. I would rather spend that kind of money. I'd rather save that money and spend it on getting a bigger pair of speakers or stepping up in the gear choice or something like that. That to me is a better return on the money that I would get more enjoyment out of. So that's the tip of the day. Don't have to spend a lot of money on racks, but you do need vibration control when you start getting into higher end gear. It makes a world of difference. Check it out. There's a lot of variety of different brands you can choose from. Oh, and here's I didn't show you this, like isoacoustics. They even make big ones. And you can put something like this under a homemade amp board if you want. So there's definitely options out there. Try, see what works best for you. There is no right or wrong answer. Guys, if it makes a difference for you and you like it, awesome. If it doesn't make a difference and you don't like it, that's okay too. You just saved yourself money. Have fun, experiment, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm the Greek Audio Geek, and I approve of this message. Oppa!